Welcome everyone to Heritage Mezcal. I'm Chava, Peribán, your host, and we are here today with Mónica. I know absolutely nothing about you, and it's really funny because I think a lot of my episodes start like this. Just I meet someone that I like, they speak highly of a third party, and then I decide that it will be a good idea to invite them to the podcast. So would you care to introduce yourself, please, Mónica?
Thank you. Thanks for having me here. My name is Mónica Favila. I'm a tea curator and also tea...
Tea nerd?
Tea nerd.
You're a tea nerd?
Tea enthusiastic, I will say. Yeah, and I'm very into astronomy as well.
Okay.
Because I think everything is linked, no? So my personal passion is tea.
And that thing that we're listening right now, it's not that there's an airplane coming by. It's actual water that is coming to temperature so you can brew some tea for us, right?
Yeah, so today we're gonna drink puer tea because it's one of your favorites and one of my personal favorites.
And it's the most expensive tea out there too.
Well, yeah, it's the most, like, the purest people that drinks tea, mainly in China, will only drink puer tea. That puer tea has like raw tea, puer tea, and also they cook puer. So we're gonna try the cooked puer tea.
Lovely. And can you give us, because I think that is a great introduction to the idea of tea. I think puer is sort of a quite a bizarre extravaganza in terms of its processes, no? So how would you define puer tea? Like, will be like, just in a nutshell.
So for me, puer tea is most complex tea that is existed. It's not mainly when people try puer for the first time, it's very complex to find a taste or describe it as a taste. A lot of people, when they describe it, it's more a place or a person, not a tea. It's not a profile of flavors that you can have on top of mind. So when you try tea, this kind of puer or this kind of tea, it's very difficult to define, like, oh, this tastes like have some notes of earthy and, well, earthy
papaya
is very...
or
yeah. It's more like an experience or something that comes into your mind. So that's the magic about puer. And also, like, only people that drinks puer is the most purist.
Really?
Yes.
So that's like from all of, like, it's like for mezcal nerds, I will claim that it's like the 50 ABV wild agave, super artisanally made. Exactly. That is the equivalent in the world of tea.
Exactly. It's weird that somebody tries it and say, like, I love this tea. It's like an acquired taste.
I am special.
You are. You have the taste. Well, you know about mezcal, and I think tea, it's something that one has like a lot of things that are magic. And one of the things that I love a lot about tea is that it helps you to clean your palate, because the taste of the puer tea, it's an acquired taste. It's not something that it's easy to find. It's not easy to talk about it. And it's just to enjoy. For me, tea, it's to just drink it and enjoy it.
So you're not one of those people with like a piece of paper that is writing down notes. This is a 4-star. This is a 2-star.
Yes. And actually, when I'm drinking tea and I'm sharing tea, I don't tell them what they should be tasting in the tea. It's more in a personal experience. So everybody would say how like it tastes for them, or probably like if it's a sommelier, they're always, or people in the food and beverage industry, they're always trying to find, of course, like the profile notes on the tea. But a regular person, they're always brings like, oh, this tastes like Valle de Bravo, or this tastes like my grandma's closet, or...
So it's memories, spaces,
it's very memories.
People. Yes. I like that so much more. You know, I think I said this in an earlier episode, but I think that it is for me way more interesting to use a medium that is so foreign to people. You know, like not a lot of people have come to rural Mexico to try mezcal. Not a lot of people have gone, I don't know in which region of China they do this tea, but I don't think a lot of people have traveled there. So it's like something that is so foreign to you that it's almost like a blank, like a blank space that can bring memories and can just bring sensations that otherwise you wouldn't find, no? It's like almost decontextualizing yourself in a really bizarre way.
Yeah, and exactly like now that you do mention that, tea, it's something that it's so simple. It's a ritual. The Chinese way to drink tea is gong fu cha, which is just the act of pouring some leaves with boiling water and pour it and drink it.
And it's what's going to happen right now,
And it's
right?
what is going to happen right now. So
Okay,
we
I
have
love that.
this teapot that is called yixing, that is made of clay pot. And the most purest way to drink tea as well is just using yixing. There are other accessories very common that it's called gaiwan, and that's a very different tool. But this is like the most purest way to drink,
Because I've
especially
seen-
puer.
I've seen some that are like a cup and you put a little dish on top.
Exactly.
And you pour. That's the other
Exactly.
one you're referring to, no?
Exactly, and that's the most common. That's the most common, the most popular, the most commercial. So what you do is you always pour the water into the teapot. So when it warms up, so after it has like puer tea has like this energy, the qi, that is very obvious in this. So I'm pouring also this hot water in your cup, and then we're gonna put like some leaves because now it's warm. And now with that difference, just put it because this is hot, you can smell the tea leaves.
Oh,
And
I'm
that's
so
called
excited.
awakening the tea. Awakening
Good
the
Lord.
tea leaves. So that starts the warm teapot starts having like the leaves to bring like aromas already.
I have absolutely no tools to deal with that. Yeah, and that's what I love about tea. It's just I'm defenseless against it.
And it's just to enjoy it. For me, it's something that it's very simple at some point. It is something that brings you to a point that you need to be connected, that you're down to earth, because you have to put a lot of attention to the tea, because if the temperature is not right, you blew it up. If the time is too long, it'll taste very different. If the like every single, like as simple as it is, it takes a lot to make good tea.
But I think that, you know, if you think about, say, ballet, or you think a lot about like some of the most sophisticated dances in the world, it's more that deceiving simplicity behind it, right?
Exactly.
It's very straightforward. There's not a bunch of, well, maybe ballet is not the best example, but it's just things that may look not super ornamented, but you are off by a micra and you're getting a completely different thing. No, it's just like the beauty of those super simple gestures. I told you that I have a bunch of memories around tea, and I think one of my favorites, definitely. I wasn't gonna say my favorite, but one of my favorites is for a moment I was living for a few months in the north of Taiwan, in a little town called Winjia, which I'm butchering completely. I never was able to really pronounce it. And I ended up in the house of some government officials.
Okay.
And they were hosting volunteers. And I was the only non-Asian kid that had decided to volunteer there. So I was quite a show. I was like a zoo animal. So they will take me from house to house and show me around. And the one thing that I loved is, like, in every house, a man will receive me with one of these big, I don't know, like, just tables, like tea tables, and they're all like the most beautiful things I've ever seen, like super ornamented and crazy with stone and all kinds of things. And they will prepare tea aggressively. You know, we're sitting like 10 people around them, and the male or the main male of the meeting will be behind the table, just like throwing shots of tea over and over and over and over, and you just like sort of talking, but just like shooting quickly. And after a few, like, I don't know, where you're there 40 minutes, you're drunk out of your mind with tea, and it's not only delicious what you're drinking, but also you're like, I mean, I drink coffee professionally, you know, like with a lot of dedication. I have never felt something like that with coffee.
No, because in coffee.
Sorry, am I allowed? Am I
Yes, of
allowed to
course.
try it?
Yes, please.
Is there, after it's being served, it's better to wait a moment to drink it immediately? What will be your approach?
It's very, very hot, so depends also on your sensitivity on the mouth. But you can drink it like immediately.
Okay.
The difference of the coffee, tea, you can like it. The purpose is to drink it hot, very hot, and that's why you like everyone slurps, because you have to put like oxygen and don't burn your lips or your tongue. So.
Oh, that's a slurping. That's the idea for slurping.
That's the reason why a lot of people slurp. And what you're talking about, it's called tea drunk.
Oh, it's actually a thing.
It's actually a thing.
So, because I felt like, I'm such of a mess that even with innocent tea, I'm thinking about drunkenness. So it's actually a thing. It's
actually a thing. I don't know the science behind it. So if there's anyone that is listening to this and has the science behind that, I will appreciate that. Share with us. But tea drunk, especially one, has to be very fine tea. You cannot have tea drunk with Lipton tea. You have to have like very good tea. Two, you have to drink a certain amount of tea. And then you will feel like relaxed, very joyful. You will feel very alert, like you will have a lot of mental clarity. So it's a very nice sensation.
It's amazing because it's just like the right balance of inhibition and awareness. Like you're extra aware, but at the same time, you are shouting, you're making all the jokes that you wouldn't do. I was like trying to crack some jokes in like the very broken few words in, and when I was so weird because they had, they spoke, Chinese, then they spoke something that they call Taiwanese, and then they spoke Hakka. So every word that I will learn, it was completely useless. But I remember that feeling with such endearment.
Yeah, which is it's like a very nice feeling, because you have all these things going on, and if you're aware of how you're feeling, it's amazing. One of the things, like I used to do kung fu to have like balance my energy. So my sensei asked me one day, like, what do you do? Because there's some times that you come and you get tired faster and you're not so focused and you're not so accurate in your movements. And then you do something. Like if you're taking drugs, you cannot come here to my studio.
Oh, wow.
Not before that. Because he noticed, so like the difference was so obvious that he was like, you cannot do drugs before you came here. And I'm like, no. I drink matcha, which matcha tea is the one that has like higher caffeine than any other thing. It has L-theanine.
I'm not familiar with that. So it's like, that's like Dana, sort of, or L-theanine?
No, it's another compound that makes you feel relaxed. So you have like caffeine that makes you like have like the rush. Yeah. And then you have L-theanine, that it's the one who keep you calm and focused. And then depends on the tea, but GABA teas, like in oolongs, you have GABA tea that you can also like, now it's very trendy for health and healthy purposes. But you have that. That's why the monks, when they are going to meditate for hours, they drink tea because of that purpose. They will have the energy not to fall asleep. They will have the calmness to stay in that place, sitting, meditating. So when I was doing the Kung Fu, he said like, no way. And I'm like, I'm going to bring matcha today, like next
so you can
day.
See it, yeah.
So you can see it and feel it. And you will see the difference. So we both drink matcha before, like, and 1 hour before the class. And he was able like to see that he can feel more flexible, more precise on the movements and everything. And it was like a combination of that. You have more energy, but you're so focused that you make better the movements and you make everything like in this super focused way, like
Wow.
when the adrenaline and everything comes into you because you feel the difference. You feel like superpower.
Well, but like if you had told me this in a less poetic, expansive way, I will say that sounds like Red Bull vodka. Like, you have the up and down in one place. Like that sounds not like something that we'll call a elaborate or
but this is healthy. So what a difference with coffee or any energy drink or whatever, it's that in tea, because of the caffeine, you have the rush. But then the curve, like difference of coffee, for instance, that you get the rush very soon, and then also very soon you go down.
Mm-hmm.
In tea,
you crash and burn. That happens to me all the time. Yeah, like that's my life. Yeah, that is my every morning. That's me from 7 a.m. to noon. Up, down, down.
Exactly, and that's also not good for your body in some ways.
Yeah, no.
And like everything, like if you drink 3 matchas a day or 4 matchas, it's not a good idea. But any tea, you get the rush up, and then it takes hours and it's going slowly down. It's not the rush that you go up and then down. So you go up kind of like a more like gentle way.
Yeah.
And then also the curve of having like the fact that it goes away, it's very slow, it's very smooth, it's very subtle. Of course you feel it. But it's an amazing thing to do when and also I don't only see this effect because I do Kung Fu. If I need to concentrate for a presentation or whatever, the numbers, or I have to put like a lot of attention to detail or something like that, I drink tea and I notice the big difference that if I don't drink tea.
It's amazing. May I have a little bit more? This was absolutely gorgeous. And you're right, like
so look at the color. The color is amazing.
I was gonna tell you, like it's almost like I don't want to say soy sauce, but it has like such a beautiful like brown red.
Yes.
That it's
like very amber, like whiskey, like.
Yeah, no, this is exceptional. Wow.
So tell me what do you feel? What do you taste?
I mean, just talking about how it's like immediately interacting with my body, like these days when I record and stuff, it tends to be challenging. It's like hyper focusing on someone for hours and hours and hours. So I was like almost like in a little bit of a tired moment when you arrived. And now I feel, and it's been like 3 sips and I already feel a difference. But I think that's on the physical part of it, but I find it so intriguing.
So drinking tea is also like, time is very relative because we're pouring tea and we're drinking tea and we could be there like for hours drinking tea. And because of all these compounds and how you feel and because you're enjoying and we're like more focused and more joyful and all this, we can spend hours drinking tea. So the time is so relative when you're drinking tea because you want another.
Yeah.
And you want another one. Because of course, this kind of tea we can drink this teapot like probably 15 times.
Really?
Yeah. So that takes hours.
And just going back to these memories of tea that I had in Taiwan in a way, it's almost the gestures. I mean, you mentioned that of how simple and at the same time precise you have to be. But I even think that sometimes like people that are really good at this, they even like put a tiny show. It's not like the bartenders that are throwing bottles and whatnot, but I think they find a lot of pleasure on just being like precise with every move. And they sort of like throw stuff a little bit. Especially like, I think that if I have a little bit more, I'll be really happy. Yes. I think like something that I was super young. I may have been like 20 or something. I got sort of accidentally invited to a trade show to Guangzhou. And And I ended up there. I was trying to sell hand-blown glass in China. Can you imagine? Like biggest stupidity ever. They were like, "How many containers can you make so we can sell them to Italy?" I was like, "Dude, it's a $20 glass. Like, you don't want to talk to me. I'm sorry." But it was something really funny that happened. That a lot of the people that had their projects and whatnot, they were super confused because all the Chinese clients, they will come and they would actually hold things and they would like grab them hardly. They will almost like clink one against each other. They were very physical with the objects. And I think here in Mexico, in a capacity, we are told since we're children not to touch what you're not going to buy, and you're like super careful and maybe that's why we touch each other so much, because you're not allowed to touch anything else but humans.
I love that statement.
Yeah, right. But it was like, for me, it was like there was like such sensuality coming out of these people that interacted with objects with this strength almost. And the first time that I saw that translated in their gestures was, again, like when they were serving tea. Because, and what I'm trying to get to, though, it's like we think about tea and there's, I think, like 2 schools or 2 regions that usually are identified. You have China and you have Japan, no? And when I think about the Chinese way of drinking tea, it's almost like a tacos al pastor experience.
True. True. Yes.
It's like fast and big and physical and you're slurping it like it's...
Yes.
And then you think about the Japanese, and I spent a little bit of time in Tokyo, and I never had, it just like didn't talk to me in the same way that the Chinese physicality spoke to me. So am I right? I'm like somewhere in the vicinity of rightness?
Yes, totally, because in China, it's a ritual. It's a day-to-day thing. It's nothing. It's not like a perfect ceremonial thing or anything. It's very casual. And
like just one last memory. And again, like sometimes my memory is a weird place. Sometimes I think I remember something and sometimes I just dreamed it. So truth for me sometimes, at least in terms of memory, is not super accurate. But this was in Hong Kong, and I remember that there was like this restaurant that it was like super cheap. It was like very cheap to eat duck and rice, and they have like this merger with the English tradition of tea and the Chinese, and you will go for your duck and your rice, and then you will go for your like English style tea. But then on top of that, there was always a pitcher with more of Asian tea, and that was used to clean the dishes. And people will throw that into a bigger container, clean the dishes with tea, and like warm them a little bit what you were doing right now. And then just serve the food on top of that. So there was like fancy drink to tea that was like English Asian, and this tea that was just like part of the table. It was almost like the napkins.
Yeah, exactly. Like any part of the world that you go to a Chinese restaurant or a Japanese restaurant, they will get you tea. And it's like, it's part of it. It's the day to day. It's not fancy. It's a common thing to do.
Yeah.
And a difference, of course, like also culturally are very different. No, the Chinese are like, I would say like Mexicans.
Yeah. I mean,
like happy, joyful.
We are the same thing. Like honestly, every time I end up in a Chinese restaurant, like when I was in China, I was like, yeah, you're my people. Like I was having so much fun. Yeah,
exactly. And Japanese, of course, are like more ceremonial, very respectful.
Until they start drinking.
Yes. Yes, true. So there's actually the only tea ceremony, or like probably it's the only tea ceremony very formal. It's the matcha ceremony, and that's it's long. It's very formal. It has like different elements, but it's the most formal thing about talking about tea ceremony. But in China, when I was there and we were on road trips going deep into the mountains, and at some point we were like, let's go and eat here, and we were sitting there and they bring me like this bottle of spirit that they have there, and it was like banjo, but like it was artisanal, it was like someone in Oaxaca that give you the bottle of mezcal. Like,
I am so jealous. I will have killed for that. Okay, sorry. I shall not interrupt you. Please give us more details. Okay. No. Give us more details, please.
And they were like, this is new. This is for you. And I said, like, thank you very much, but I would love to have like the first round with you guys, because if I take it home close, it won't have the same meaning. So can I open it and share it with you? Like just the first one, and then we can change tuna because it's my bottle. And they laugh and say like, yeah. So I open it and I smell it, and actually it smells like puntas de mezcal.
Yeah.
And it was very strong, and it was like very tasty and everything. And then they start playing basketball, random. So I was like contemplating the moment. And then my friend came and said like, what's going on? And I'm like, I'm in Oaxaca.
Yes.
Like the people, the way they talk to you and they laugh at you and they try to show you their culture and their moments, and they're sharing all this experience with us. It's like, I'm in Oaxaca. It's amazing because I feel home. Like we think about like, oh, está en chino. And you think it's so different. And
Yeah,
when you're there, it's
when
so...
you want to say that something is too far away, it's too hard, it's too other, we say it's en chino. It's in Chinese. It's like that's our definition of incomprehensible otherness, of just can't grasp.
Exactly.
And it turns out that
is very similar. When you go to China, we went to this market and I was like, oh my God, I'm in Oaxaca, and I'm in another region in Oaxaca. You know, the ladies, old ladies, having like the traditional wardrobes and yeah. And when I was like, of course, we were photographing everything, and one of them, and it happened to me the same in Tlacolula market, that the lady just looked at me very mad at me and said like, no photos. And she was like stopping me very mad at me. And I'm like, oh, yes, I am. I can't believe like there's so many similarities, no? And in so many ways, people is also like, I was very deep. It's not easy to go at that part of China to look for tea. It's not, I'm very fortunate. I know that the guy that bring me there, it's a very good friend of mine. So I was very fortunate to experience that.
Absolutely, because it's also, and I learned this the hard way, you are not allowed to leave the city that you have told the Chinese authorities that you're not going to live while you're there. You have to be very clear of where you're going, how long you're staying there, who you are seeing. I had to do an Excel sheet for 2 months because my brother and I took some freedoms that we shouldn't have.
Yeah, and as in Mexico, similarities, you shouldn't do that. No, it's kind of risky maybe.
Well, no, 1 month, sorry, because the visa, that's another crazy thing. The visa to go to China is not as, well, simple, but not that simple.
Yeah.
And you're limited to one. No, did I do? I can't remember. I'm terrible. But I want a little bit more so I have more clarity. Like, and that's another thing. It's, as you're saying, like, I think that even the size of the cup makes a difference.
Exactly. It's not like you have a big cup. You have a small cup where you're like drinking and drinking, because also when you're pouring this kind of teas, you have one infusion, and we say that the tea starts like awakening. And then the more develops this tea, now it's very different from the previous one that we have. So if you will try it, it's more probably stronger overall, because I don't want to put like what you are tasting in what I'm tasting. So
no, but
it's very like it's developing the tea.
But right now it's interesting to me because there is some level of, I wouldn't say bitterness, but it's almost like sort of the white skin on citruses that it's sort of in the aftertaste. And then there is a bunch of like darker fruits that are really upfront, but they get accompanied by this like citrusy bitterness all around. And then there's earth just sustaining, like earths and rocks sustaining the whole thing. So it's super delightful. Like, you know, my decision though, while I was saying this, is like, I'm not going to sleep tonight because I'm not letting this thing go to waste. So I'm just trying to think of all the things that I will have to do tonight in order to be able to drink the 15 iterations of this.
Exactly. So it like you start like it's developing. So it started the tea to come and bring like a lot of different flavors, and then probably with this tea in the 8th one, it'll be at, or 9 or 10, it'll be at the peak of the tea, and then it'll go down. And you decide as a host or as when you're gonna, like when it's coming down,
When
You
to
don't
stop.
you don't want, like, once it's on the peak, you want to stop the tea there because you want the person that you're having tea with to have that flavor,
Well, that
emotions,
memory, yeah.
feeling, memory, aftertaste. You want to stop it right there.
This is like distillation, basically. So,
Yes.
you have your heads, which we are right now. These are our puntas. Then we'll get to the peak of this in our hearts. And then you decide when the tails are still acceptable or not. Or even like textiles, like the grana cochinilla, you go from the brightest red, well, like almost deep purple. Then you get to the miraculously wonderful reds, and then you go to the pinks in the last waters. So it's basically just understanding where you're standing and what are you giving to the other person in front of you. It's beautiful.
Yes, and of course for me making tea, it's like a very casual thing, but also like every time that I'm pouring tea, I'm also thinking about these people that we're talking right now. It's also honoring that memory or honoring the everybody's work and everybody's piece that to me make a difference in life. So for me, like when you go and visit a palenque or a vinata de mezcal, now mezcal doesn't mean the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
It has more meaningful. It's more meaningful. It has like, it brings you other memories. It brings you like the time that you went there and you were spending time with them. So the way you drink, the way you see mezcal is very different. The way you drink mezcal is very different. Same here. Mm. And it's about sharing also our stories about just having like tea. Like tea has like brings you to a many amazing places. Like I have people that come and drink tea with me and they tell me something very, very personal. And
because you're drugging them.
Let's erase that part.
Yeah. Because you're getting them high. Okay, yeah, sure.
And there's people that are like super happy, and there's people that just don't really
care.
Don't care. Don't really pay attention to that.
So if may, I think I have a two-folded question here. Like, do you have like your most dear memory connected to tea at the source? Like, I don't know if it was speaking, I don't know if it was trying, I don't know which part of that was like the most significant. And the second one was like, what brought you to have this enthusiasm for tea?
Okay. So my most probably the memory that I have right now, top of mind, because there's tons.
Yeah, I will hope so.
Yes, is that we were at a restaurant and this young guy came and it was like a bunch of people that produce tea and distribute tea. And my friend is one of the main distributors in tea in China, in southern China, in the region of Yunnan. And this very, very young guy, very shy guy, approaches and asks us if he can share the tea and give us our opinion about his tea. So we drink it and we were like totally mind-blowing, like, who are you? Because he looks so young. Of course, all dirty with like, because he was on the field and of course he was sweating and his smell. I will always remember his smell. When I look into his hands, when he was pouring tea, like he went to wash his hands, but he came back and it was like still earth on his hands. It's earth on his fingerprints. And it's like the feel, the hard work of this very young guy making tea. So we went and visited his tea field and the way he's making the tea, because we were like really impressed of how good job he was doing.
What kind of tea was it?
Puer tea.
Oh, Lord. Okay.
So we asked him and his wife to come to the city, the closest city that I was staying at. And we came to this hotel that I was staying. And he came with his wife. And it was like, for the first time, they were sleeping in a bed that it was not theirs. For the first time, they were out of his town, of his little village. For the first time, his wife was like going into the bathroom and coming back and saying like, "Come and see the bathroom." And then she's like sitting on the bed, and she was like, "Oh my God, like sit here, like smell and she was smelling everything, like the pillows and the sheets and everything. And she was looking at us, and she was like so happy. She was pregnant, so we pamper her. We ask her like for like dinner. What do you want? And we give her like new things to try. And she was like so happy. And he was like looking at her. And then at some point she looked at him and she said like, "I am so proud of you. You've been working so hard. And now we are here with these guys drinking tea." And she's from Mexico and he lives in Vancouver, and he is the guy that you were dreaming about to sell your tea to. So that was that's so things that, yeah, that's so crazy. And they're so meaningful. And for me, tea brings me to touch lives of people in ways that I cannot imagine. So for me, that was probably the moment that I was like, this is why I drink tea. This is why I'm interested in tea.
And I think it's even bigger for them because, and I see that a lot sometimes in Mexico. It's, you know, we might drink this in very refined scenarios, in very glorified spaces, but in the end and in the beginning, this comes from places that are to their bare bones. You know, it's dirt, it's water, it's air, and that's it. That's what you have. And it's almost like you live in this capsule where you rarely have the chance to look in the eye the people that you're sharing this with. Yes. So that's pretty
yes,
amazing.
And I remember when he was pouring tea, we were like in their room drinking the tea, and I put like, we always have like a favorite teacup. So I have mine, so I put it on his hand so he can pour me the tea. And when I see again these very dirty hands, and I don't mean it in a bad way. Like I had so much respect of this very young guy that when he passed me the cup, I grabbed his hands with my hands, and I was like, "This is so meaningful. You have no idea. Thank you so much for sharing with us this tea and your hard work." And he was like, of course, he was like very shy. And I was holding his hands in front of his wife.
What is this Mexican doing? I've heard the stories.
Yes, and everyone was looking at us like, uh-oh. Yeah. But at the end, I was like very, probably, I don't know, maybe a little bit ceremonial. And I was like, "Thank you so much." And I closed my hands into his hands. And I was like, "Thank you so much." And I grabbed the cup of tea and I sip it. And I was like, my eyes were watered just to see the joy and the moment of that we were living in that very second.
That is glorious. And I mean, just because if we keep on going into the emotional route, I'm not I've been drinking. I might be a shambles if we continue this. So let's move it to the technical side,
okay.
where I feel far more comfortable. No, just I mean, it's a beautiful story. And if I can, yeah, for someone I think that has never engaged with puer, and we were talking about this briefly, is this can be extremely expensive. Like I've heard that there's even speculation in investing capacity, not only China, but in the world. Yeah. That I met once a guy that said, if I had spent all my money in puer 20 years ago, I wouldn't have to work again in my life. So this goes for the thousands of dollars. And as anything that is valuable, I guess that there's things that are valuable, but they're not necessarily super exceptional taste-wise. And then there's things that are super exceptional in terms of taste and quality. How do you differentiate a puer that you prefer, mm-hmm. and which ones do you prefer less?
Well, I would say like my puer teacher, he is an expert. I am not an expert. I am far away from being an expert. I drink tea and I can tell for the way I feel. It's that I can tell that it's a good puer or not. But
okay, so it's more a defect in your body.
For me. this guy, his name is Daniel, he's in Vancouver. He is an expert, and he's been buying, like, people from China call him and tell him, like, we have, or we found, or there's been in the family, like, some puer cakes. So when you come visit and try it, or tell us if you will buy it. And of course, it's like an antique shop. Like, he comes and he evaluates the family that it came from, how many generations they were making tea, from when it was made. Like there's a lot of factors that, of course, only a very, very experienced person would determine if it's good or poor and how much it'll value.
Wow.
So it's not an easy thing. It's
No. It's like, I mean,
complex.
I thought it was hard. I didn't know that it was almost like art valuation.
It is.
It's the pedigree. It's and this can be aged for a long time, right?
Yeah, and it has to be like in very good conditions and everything, because everything affects the flavor of the tea. Everything. So he will buy the tea that he thinks it's worth it. He will storage it in some place in Vancouver.
That you're not disclose the location because of safety reasons. Yeah. You're not going to disclose the location of your house either, given
exactly. And of course, there's teas that are for his personal collection, and there's teas to sell, to invest. And the way he thinks, and probably this is very personal, doesn't have to be that way all the time. But if someone, like, if you show up with the money and you say, like, I want a puer tea that cost this much millions.
Like how much? It can go to millions of dollars or
thousands of dollars.
Thousands. Yeah. That's what I understood. Yeah. Hundreds of thousands. Though.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. So if he knows that it's just because you want to buy it in order to later on sell it in a higher price, he wouldn't sell it, because there's two things. You have to try one of the cakes of that batch, and you open it like once a year or once 2 years, and you get a little bit of it, and then you try it, and then you will get the puer where you think the profile it's at the best, and then that's when you sell the puer cake.
It's the same idea as how you're serving the tea right now.
Yes.
You find the peak, and then is when you have to sell it for a be consumed at its absolute peak.
Yeah, so the first time we met, and I sit with him to drink puer tea, I came and my friend told me, like, tell him that you know about puer, because otherwise he will give you like very
terrible
basic
stuff. Yeah.
Basic. And I was like, I came and I say hi. He was about to close, like, probably we will drink tea for an hour. That's nothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, he came and said, would you like to try tea? But we were talking, I was like, I'm not going to bluff to this guy. Obviously, he is an expert. Obviously, he knows. Mm-hmm. So I came and I told him, like, I'm learning about tea. And he gave me like all these kind of puer teas, and we were drinking for hours. We drink for 6 hours, different puers. So my mind, my heart, my body was like, he was playing with me like up and down, up and down, up and down. And I can feel, of course, the taste. It was very different from one another and everything. And then he just turned and grabbed like this beautiful yellow clay teapot. And very casual, he started like, and we were like almost done with drinking tea. And he pours the tea, and he was like pouring the tea on the teacup. And I was like, oh, wow. Like even the smell of that, it was so different from any other thing that we tried that afternoon. That when I have the sip, I close my eyes and I was like, oh my God, this is the best thing I've ever drank in my life.
That was again talking about peak. That was
it was a peak of, and of course it was like from his personal collection, and he was drinking only that tea with very close friends. But he said, like, you really appreciate tea, you really get tea. That's why I share it with you. And he even gave me a little bit of it. So I was like, oh my God. When I came to my friend and I said, look what I have from Daniel, he was like, I know him for years, and I've never had this tea, not even with him, not even one sip. And you spend with him like hours, and I was like, yay.
That's insanity.
So yeah, it's like puer, it's very complex. It's almost like if you're buying like something very special, but it has to be someone that is really, really expert.
Well, and that has a tremendous love and appreciation for it, because there's experts and there's experts, right? Like there's like people that know a lot because they've studied and because they've spent the time, they put the time in, but then you want the expert that actually has a heart in his or her chest, and that they will, you know, take that extra mile that makes it exciting. Otherwise, it's just another thing.
Yeah. And also important is not every single puer tea that you drink is expensive. There's like really bad, very cheap puer tea, and you will notice.
I won't ask you what kind of puer did you bring. Like I won't ask you if this is like for the basic kids, if this is advanced, if this is of your personal collection. But I can tell you that I'm enjoying a lot what you brought.
Yeah, this is for my personal selection of tea. So yeah, and I think this is from 2016. This is from 2016. So it's a very good puer tea. It's a very nice cake. So if you see, like, every once in a while, I have like ones that are closed, and I have one that is 2014, and it'll cost around right now. It'll cost like 14,000 pesos, 20,000 pesos for one cake.
Okay, so this is not a cheap hobby.
No, no, it is not, and it's a very personal thing. I think in Mexico, because we eat a lot of sugar, a lot of people find it more easy to drink oolongs than to drink any other kind of tea. For me, the only thing that the main teas that I drink, it's white, puer, green, Chinese or Japanese or Taiwanese green teas. That's what I would mainly drink.
Love it. I love that I'm getting like the purist approach to tea. And you did mention something too when you walked into the studio. It was like you actually have tried to have tea and mezcal in company, and you think that's a great encounter, not to use the word pairing, which I'm sometimes still nervous about. So I did pour myself some salmiana from Daniel Navarro in Campanilla, which I think it's absolutely gorgeous. Would you like a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So try it, because when you drink let me pour some more tea, because when you will find notes, hopefully. Well, I'm not going to tell you. Let's enjoy it.
Yeah.
Let's just enjoy it. Let's enjoy the ride.
It's almost like when you, have you seen like the bull riders, like people that ride bulls? It's not like the bull is going to tell them what's coming.
Exactly.
Right? So,
exactly. That would be a terrible thing.
Yeah, no, it wouldn't be fun. So I like to think of myself more on the bull ride. Oh, you even brought your own cup for mezcal. You're the most prepared guest to ever. Wow. It's like almost like everybody just gets here, doesn't know what's going on. Like, this is amazing.
Well, but it's so, like, tea is so simple. Like, I just have tea, hot water, and that's it.
I mean, you even brought your... No, this is not simple. In my
Well, sometimes simplicity, it's so meaningful in so many ways, no?
Well, I will call this Baroque simplicity. You know?
Okay, fair enough. So let me pour you some tea.
I mean, in some capacity, this is, I think, the exact opposite. Like, in terms of flavor profile, I will claim that it's the exact opposite of puer. I think, like, they couldn't be more far apart. But I'll say cheers.
Cheers. Thank you for having me.
No, this has been quite a meaningful moment. Wow. I might start doing this.
Wow.
You might have just ruined me. No, because I mean, not to use the Red Bull vodka approach, but I think this makes sense. It's almost like putting your attention in two super opposite places, so you're hyper aware of both parts of the spectrum. And again, like, I think that the other thing with tea is that it allows for other things to visit your mouth while you're drinking it.
Exactly.
When you're with coffee, it takes over.
Exactly.
It's like you cannot pay attention to anything else. It comes in and that's it. It has been conquered. But with tea, it gives those spaces, no?
Yes, it is. And I think is what we were saying. At the end, China and Mexico are not so different. So tea and mezcal are not so different. In their own ways, I see a lot of similarities to both of them. Both. Well, and what it brings you and how you feel. And because also like when people describes also mezcal that is not familiar with mezcal, like there's people that say like, oh, I feel the mezcal in the chest. I feel the mezcal on the head. I feel the mezcal, no?
And again, like, science will tell us that it's just ethanol and water, but from anecdotal experience, definitely yes. Like like some of the most wonderfully reckless parties that I've been part of have been filled by mezcal, and it's not a coincidence, it is not a coincidence at all. So again, like just science has to catch up to tell us what's going on, because or maybe it's just a few of us people that were born with a wrong gene or something, maybe it's a physical condition and we just don't know about it.
maybe but it's about the experience, and it's about the present and the presence. And when you have a very special bottle of mezcal, you want to share it with someone that will appreciate it.
Yeah.
So the same with tea. When
what you just told me, it's again like it's just like I think that this is what's so interesting for me now, to be talking with people that are related to what I will call that is just deep Mexico. And it's funny, right? Because I'm taking this even to the extreme. Usually I was like, okay, I'm going to talk about coffee. This is not mezcal, but it's deep Mexico. It's important. I'm going to talk about baseball. It's not mezcal, but it's important. And I'm just like, we are talking about a tradition of taking leaves of China, but it's not a coincidence that you're the one that we are talking, right? Because you are seeing this through the eyes of someone that was born here, that lived here, went there, and found something that resonated, that for you, that market in China was Tlacolula. Mm-hmm. And to be able to have that, like, when you were saying that, I was like imagining things. I was like, nobody will have ever been able to tell me this but you. and I truly think that I get to understand Mexico and mezcal and like all this deepness of the traditions that we have here more and more when I have conversations like this. So I really, really thank you for your time and for visiting the studio.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Well, I hope I see you pretty soon. Double saludcita, because
saludcita.
We have two hands. God gave us left and right, so saludcita. I'll see you soon, Mónica. Wow. Qué cosa.
Está cañón, ¿no?
Súper cañón.
Está cañón porque no es como que uno invada al otro. Es bien como que...
This was Heritage Mezcal, the incredibly eclectic podcast that likes to delve into the depths of the country we call Mexico. I am Chava Peribán, your host, and I truly hope you enjoyed this episode. All the sounds, all the music, and now all the videos living in YouTube are made by Roy Sierra. Tómese el mezcalito con gusto y medida y nos miramos al rato.